As someone who struggles with emotional eating, binge eating, all of the above, weight loss has been so freaking hard, y'all. I am someone who definitely struggles with those things, and it's really hard for me to even come on camera and say that. I have mentioned it in previous videos, but if you're someone who also struggles with those things, then you know it's not really something that you want to say with your chest. It's not something that you even want to admit to yourself sometimes, but it's definitely something that I've realized that I deal with within the last year and a half. And I can say that the last 3 months, I've definitely found a formula that really works for me when it comes to losing weight. I can honestly say that I don't even think that losing weight is necessarily hard for me. I know exactly what I need to do and how I need to do it. My biggest issue is my eating habits. And in the last 3 months, I've actually managed to lose 10 pounds. But being that I do struggle with binge eating, I've kind of been on this yo-yo diet type of thing, which is where you lose weight, then you gain it back, lose weight, gain it back. You know, it's just this constant back and forth type of thing. And it's honestly hard to come back on camera after having success, but then kind of taking steps back in a sense, because you just don't want to show up on camera when you know you're not your best self, or you know that you can be better. Honestly, I think you have that thought of, I don't want people to see me this way, and also I don't want people to be discouraged in their journey and say, man, if she can't do it, then how am I going to do it? I think as somebody who posts on social media, whether you're a fitness influencer, food influencer, whatever type of influencer you are, I think there's this temptation to look perfect all the time or make it seem like you don't have down moments, but that's simply not true. I think if you're a human being who bleeds blood like the rest of us, then you definitely have moments. You have life happen. And life is not always going to look like peaches and cream. It's not always going to look perfect. I understand that social media is not meant necessarily to post your down moments. It's mostly meant to post your highlights and everything that's going good in your life. And I get it. Who wants to put their business on the internet when it comes to things that they're going through in a negative way? But I'm not saying that you should put all your business on the internet. What I am saying, though, is that it's very helpful when people get on the internet and they post real moments, authentic moments, things that they're genuinely feeling, even if it's not necessarily so happy-go-lucky or whatever. I think it's very helpful just knowing that somebody else is going through what you're going through too. You're not the only one. And so that's exactly why I'm making this video. I hope that whoever you are, if you are also someone who struggles with binge eating, you are definitely not alone. I know firsthand what it's like. I know about the feelings of shame that follows binge eating and emotional eating. I know sometimes you probably just want to hide from the world. There are times where I even want to hide from God because I feel so guilty and so shameful. And I know that those feelings are definitely not from God, but it's just easier said than done when people say, oh, don't feel that way. God doesn't look at you that way. And I know he doesn't. I know God loves me. And I believe that God knows that I'm actively trying to overcome this. But it's something that I realized is definitely going to take time. There was even a point in time, I think last month, where I literally bought fruit. I was going to go on a whole week of just doing a fruit cleanse because I had just did a whole lot of binge eating the day before, I believe it was. And I was feeling so guilty. I had went up some pounds on the scale, and I was getting ready to make a whole series on YouTube of me going on this fruit cleanse. But I realized shortly after that, for me personally, I think if I would have just went on a fruit cleanse, right after that cleanse, I would have been back to my old ways. It's like kind of putting a Band-Aid on something, but the wound is still there. The issue is still there. The Band-Aid is just a temporary fix, and I have not gotten to the source at that point. So I realized after that video that I think it's nothing wrong with going on a fruit cleanse. I think it can be beneficial to your immune system and just your body overall, your health. But for me personally, that was not going to be the solution to my problem. This is something that I actively have to fight. I have to learn how to, first of all, deal with the root of this issue, figure out what's causing these feelings and these emotions, and just go from there. But just looking for quick fixes is just not the answer. And it's hard for me to show up on camera when I'm not feeling my best self. But I realize that people need to see those moments as well. They need to know that they're not in this alone. And also, it's helpful for me because it's accountability, knowing that people are waiting for me to show up, whether I'm feeling my best self or not. Just knowing that I'm still in this journey. And there are moments where I feel very defeated and I feel like, dang, what's the point of all this? But I realize that if I don't fight at all, that ain't gonna do me no good. So I need to keep fighting. And it's times where I feel like, dang, I gotta start my fitness journey all over. But that's not even true. I feel like the times where I've messed up are still very important times because it's all a part of the journey. And I'll be able to know more about myself the more I keep going and progressing in this journey. I'll be able to know my triggers. I'll be able to know my weaknesses. I'll be able to know my strengths. And I'll say for sure that I've definitely begun to learn some of my weaknesses. And they say the first part in fixing something is acknowledging it. And so I've definitely begun to acknowledge some of the things that I know I need to work on. But I am making a commitment to myself to keep trying, even if I have to get my butt up 1,000 times and try again 1,000 times. I refuse to wear shame. I refuse to wear guilt. I refuse to feel defeated. I am not going to beat myself up. And I'm not going to say that I'm not going to feel emotions of wanting to binge eat again or wanting to emotional eat, whatever. But I am saying that I'm not going to stay in that place. I'm going to actively fight this. I am going to reach my goals. It doesn't matter how long it takes me. I used to have that mentality of, oh, summer is coming. You know, everybody's like, summer is coming. I got to get my body right. And if that's how you think and that motivates you and that helps you, it's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, thinking that way is kind of toxic because it makes me feel a lot more pressure than I'm already feeling. And I am already hard on myself. That's another thing that I need to work on. I'm super hard on myself and I beat myself up a lot. And that's something that I'm trying to fix. So adding additional pressure on myself saying, you got to lose this weight before summer. You need to have this super shredded body before summer comes. It's just not good for me. And so I've realized that I do not need to put a time limit on my fitness goals or my weight loss goals. I need to just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. I'm not saying don't lock in because like I said, I found a formula that works for me and it does require some accountability. It does require some type of just structure. But putting that time limit on myself is just not what I need at this point in time. And so here I am, still fighting, still